From the Beam Media Studios in Dallas, Texas, this is the For Drew Show, the show where I, Jack Everett, tell Drew about my life so he'll know what's going on in the world. Well, Drew, what do I got for you today? Well, of course, as you know, we have been having the great debate about what the best Christmas movie is. And your argument has been Home Alone. And my argument has been Home Alone 2. And so I am going to settle this debate once and for all as to what the superior Christmas movie is. And to help me doing that, I have got my great book of research. And I'm going to research everything that there is to know in the whole world so that I can make a scientific conclusion as to what the best Christmas movie is. So let me begin by reading from the book of research. Let's get us past the table of contents and actually into the reading. And with that research concluded, many hours later, I can now begin my discourse. So let us begin by doing the scientific method. To do this scientifically, we must make a graph. And on the bottom, we will put the events of the films. And on the y-axis, we will put the awesomeness of each of the events that happen in the films. So to begin that, let us consider firstly Home Alone, the film. Here is my copy of Home Alone, the film. Now you'll notice this one says Family Fun Edition, which is very interesting because here is my copy of Home Alone 2. And Home Alone 2 does not need to make the claim of being the Family Fun Edition. So the first event is additions. Well, Family Fun Edition implies that you didn't think it was going to be fun. So the film itself knows it's actually not as fun of a film as Home Alone 2. So Home Alone 2, we'll mark our 2 up here for Home Alone 2. And our 1 down here for our addition. Okay, so next up, we must also consider the title of the movie. Now this title is just called Home Alone. And that's it. It's not even called Home Alone 1. So you don't even really know what Home Alone movie you're watching. If someone said, I'm going to watch Home Alone, they could mean anything. But Home Alone 2, you'll notice, has a subtitle of Lost in New York. And because Home Alone 2 has a subtitle of Lost in New York, that comes to our second thing on the graph, which is our subtitle. Home Alone 2 has a subtitle, so it goes up here. Home Alone 1 has no subtitle, so it goes all the way down there. All right, so the next thing we must consider is that Home Alone 2, or Home Alone 1 Family Fun Edition, is in color. You'll notice that, but this one is just a reflective CD color. And so, actually, in terms of color, which will be our next graph, Home Alone 1 ranks a little higher. It ranks up here, and Home Alone 2 ranks there. So let's draw out our graph so far. Here's Home Alone 1, and here's Home Alone 2. Okay, so very interesting there. All right, so let us move on to the other points of the movie. Number 1 is, you will notice my dog back here. And this is a dog from Raising Cane's restaurant. And what you will notice is that this dog is from Home Alone 2. So when Raising Cane's decided to do a movie dog based off of the Home Alone franchise, they chose Home Alone 2, not Home Alone 1, because they themselves knew that Home Alone 2 was a better movie. So in terms of Raising Cane's on our event graph, Raising Cane, I'll just put RC for Raising Cane's. Home Alone 2 ranks all the way up here, and Home Alone 1 ranks down here because Home Alone 1 had no dog and Home Alone 2 did have a dog. So immediately Home Alone 2 jumps back up to the top, but Home Alone jumps back down to the bottom. All right, so the next important thing we must consider is my personal history with Home Alone. Now, how was I exposed to Home Alone? Was it through watching the movie? No, it wasn't through watching the movie. It was actually through the library at my elementary school. And one of the books they had available for you to check out was Home Alone. And I'm like, what is this book, Home Alone, that has this guy going like this? And he says, holy cow, on the book cover. And I'm like, who says holy cow while going like this? Well, the answer is no one. Because, Drew, that book cover is a lie. When I finally saw Home Alone, I was waiting for the part where Kevin went like this and said, holy cow, and that never happened. He just screams. He doesn't even say holy cow. So in terms of holy cow, which I'll write HC to abbreviate it, Home Alone 1 rates a 1. And Home Alone 2, we don't even need to mark it for that. Okay, so the next exposure that I had to Home Alone 2, and this is before I ever saw any of the movies, was this Home Alone 2 activity book, which I got from a book order. And what this Home Alone 2 activity book featured was lots of fun activities for me to do. So, like, it had a word search right there. And it had a maze right here with Harry and Marv, how they escaped from prison. And it also had Kevin's dad. And which one is the real Kevin's dad? Because you'll know in the movie Home Alone 2, Kevin mistakes the wrong person for his dad. And this activity book covered it. And so actually, the first time I saw the movie and I saw Kevin get confused from his dad, I knew from this activity book that it was the wrong dad that Kevin followed. There's also this part where this activity book says connect each person to their luggage. And of course, Kevin's not there. And that is one of the funniest scenes in the movie, when they're like, Kevin is not there, and Buzz is just sitting there going like this. Because Kevin's not even there. So anyway, this was a really good activity book that I really enjoyed playing with. And then I finally saw the movie that this activity book was based on, and it was awesome. So let us do our next graph point of activity book right here. And Home Alone 1 has no activity book that I ever had, but Home Alone 2 has an activity book. So Home Alone 2 is there, and Home Alone 1 continues to be at the bottom. And so here is my scientific conclusions about Home Alone 2. Now, what you may wonder is, how do we calculate the quality of the film based off of this? Well, in order to do that, there are many different conclusions we could draw from this. We could just do a fudge conclusion and say, well, we don't really know. But actually, what I'm going to do is some complex calculus. Now, this is a multi-part function. So at the very top, we'll just say that the top is 10 and the bottom is a 1. So we must calculate out fully what the formula is for Home Alone 2. Well, and let me put some numbers here. So the events are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So from f of 0 to, or f of 1 to f of 2, Home Alone 2 has a function of 10. It just equals 10. So doing the integral, the reason why we need to do the integral is because what really matters is not where the graph is at any given point, but how much space is underneath the graph, because that will give us an overall proximity of what Home Alone 2, or what these movies, how these movies rate. Okay, so Home Alone 2 from 1 to 2 is just integrate the number 10 from 1 to 2, which is going to equal 10, okay? That just equals 10. Now, from f of 2 to f of 3, Home Alone 2 has a downward slope. But actually, we don't need to do out the calculus, because we just know this area is shaped like a triangle. And what is the area under a triangle? Well, it's base times height. So it is actually just 1, which is the base, times the height of 10 divided by 2, which equals 5. Okay, so far, Home Alone 2, let's tally up the score here. Home Alone 2, I'll put H2 for Home Alone 2. Home Alone 2 is going to be 10 plus 5. Now, we already know that this part of the graph is exactly the same. It's the same triangle, it's just in the opposite direction. So that's another plus 5 there. And then from there on out, we have 3 more times 10, or 2 more times 10. So that's 20 more. So the total area underneath Home Alone 2 is 40. Is that right? Yeah, it is 40. So Home Alone 2 ranks an integral score of 40. So let's do the same thing for Home Alone 1. And we can do the same calculus just by looking at the shapes. And actually, you'll notice that Home Alone 2 or Home Alone 1 ranks as a 1 the whole way except for this triangle here. And this triangle here has a base of 2. So the base of 2, it's 1/2 times the base times the height, and the height there was 1. So it's actually a ranking of 1 right there for that triangle. And the rest of this is just flat, so that's actually a 0. So the total ranking for Home Alone 1 is 1, and for Home Alone 2, it's 40. So that's obviously pretty indicative that Home Alone 2 is the better movie. So in conclusion, what is the best Christmas movie? Well, it is Christmas Evil from 1980. But you'll notice my DVD says 1983, but that is not correct. It's actually 1980. Christmas Evil predates Silent Night, Deadly Night by 4 years, actually. So it is the premier guy that dresses as Santa and goes on a killing spree type movie. And what is there better to think about on Christmas than a man dressing as Santa and going on a killing spree? Well, I can't think of anything that is better to think about at Christmas time than a man dressing as Santa and going on a killing spree. So yes, let us rate everything of Christmas Evil, and you'll notice Christmas Evil just actually gets a straight line all the way across the top, and it is at 11. And our graph was how wide? It was 6 by 11. And so the total score of Christmas Evil is 66. So Christmas Evil is the best Christmas movie. And that is the scientific proof of how good these Christmas movies are. This has been The For Drew Show. I'm Jack Everett. Thanks for watching.